I decided the Army was for me. I go back to school, get my college degree, and that's about all she wrote. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So, what year did you get? So you were 29. What year was it that you went in?
So it was 2020. So
2020.
yeah, 2009. My time served. So when you join the National Guard, and this is different for the Army, and whenever you join the National Guard and you sign your papers, your time starts when you sign your papers.
Yes.
So all your time on your RSP weekends when you go to pre-basic training counts towards your time served. And whereas if you're active Army, your time served doesn't start until after you graduate basic
training. Yeah.
So that was a plus. I didn't know that at the time. I was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds good to me. But yeah, like I wanted to do that. I wanted to serve Oklahoma more than I wanted to serve like active duty or whatever. I was like, well, if I join the National Guard, I'll get stationed somewhere in Oklahoma and I can be home, visit my family and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
Good reasons for it. Man.
yeah,
Really good
Which is
reasons.
yeah.
also a huge plus because, like I said, with some of those kids, like I said, that couldn't see their families. That plays a lot. Like I said, when I got
Yeah.
to go home at the end of basic training because I was in on
It's a-
Sierra.
It's
I
a
was
big
like,
mental boost.
I was like,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm free.
Yeah, like I had a lot of friends like when I'm at my tango school and everybody's getting their papers to go where they're going to go. They some of them went to Korea, one went to Germany, a bunch of them went to like Fort Drum and stuff like that, and like I was like, oh, I'm going back home.
God bless the government.
Yeah.
Okay, so go to basic training. You are a 29-year-old man, so you're the old guy in the Bay.
Yes.
Probably not the oldest guy, but one of the oldest guys. So how was your Bay? Because that's the way it was for me and Chad. Like, we
Yeah.
were the old guys in the Bay, too. But so how was basic training for you? What was that experience like? Like, what?
It was nerve wracking going, like leaving. 'Cause I'd never done anything like that before. Like, whenever I initially left, it was nervous, but I was like, hey, this ship has sailed, so I'm just along for the ride. And like whenever we got to basic and I started getting in the groove, about 2 weeks into it, they say that about 2 weeks or 3 weeks in, if you can make it to that point, you're golden. You've already got the schedule down, you're good. And that's about how it was for me. Like, it was that first couple weeks was tough. Red phase, which I mean, basic's not hard, and
No.
you just get tired. There's a lot of boring standing that you do, but once you get through that, you can get to white phase and start shooting guns, and then it becomes like, I mean, you're in like Flynn. You're doing the fun stuff at that point. So
Yep.
it was I very much enjoyed basic training. My first so whenever we went through reception, so reception was like a few days, and it's the most boring time.
It is the worst
the
part
absolute
of basic training.
Terrible time. You get there, you're not doing anything. We all get in line, we eat breakfast, we go back. We're just waiting to go to our unit. And when we finally go to our unit, my basic training cycle was one of the last ones to do the shark attack. And like, you step off the bus and there's like all the battalion drill sergeants are there, and they're just like, it's like they just all look at you, and then they're just like running at you. Like, I was carrying both bags and I was just like taking it in, like, oh my gosh. And this drill sergeant saw me just like lollygag, and he was like, pick up your bags, run. So I was like, just like running like that all the way down. And I threw my bags in the pile, and we ran over there. They started smoking us, like, go get your bags, put them back. Like, it was for like an hour, it was just like back and forth, and it was a blast, like, you're just like, I'm shocked. Then we go through there, we have our MRE for lunch, and then for dinner, that was our first time in the DFAC. We get everything set up. Then they
You
get
had
us
DFAC
outside.
food the first night you were there?
First night, yeah. First dinner, yeah.
We didn't get DFAC for like a month.
Yeah. We got there. We got all our bags placed. We got back in formation. We marched down to the DFAC, and you know, when you have this whole order of things that you got to go through and like sidestep and like turn around, twirl and stuff like that, right? And
I
I remember,
I remember.
like, we were all rushing through, and I remember getting my tray. I got my plates, and the silverware was over here, and I totally blanked out, forgot my silverware. And I started getting my food, and I sat down, and everybody starts eating, you know, when they got their forks and stuff, and I didn't have anything. And I just remember going, oh, crap. And I started looking around, and I just remember hunching down, and I just started like just shoveling my food in my mouth just as fast as I could. I was like, please, God, don't let anybody see me. And I got done. Everybody stood up, and we were walking around. And the drill sergeants, they were like, that guy's eating with his hands. Like they had to have seen me because I was like, I did the last turn. I'm about to put my tray up, and I was like, all right, I'm home free. Nobody saw. And I hear this, recruit. I mean, just across the defect, this drill sergeant's knife handing me, and he's just like sprinting. He's like, where's your silverware? And I was like, drill sergeant, I didn't have any. He's like, how did you eat your food? And I was like, I ate it with my hands, drill sergeant. He goes, you disgust me. Get out of here. And like, just at the top of his lungs, just like, oh my gosh. I'm just like, I stepping it over. That was terrible, man.
The defect times are the best.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely like the best of times and definitely the worst of times. There was one time that like I don't even know how, you know, make you drink like 3 Camelbacks a day. So we get up, we do our PT, we eat breakfast, and I was like, I don't need to pee right now. And I just kept drinking water. We had our classes, what I don't even know what we were doing that day. But by the time lunch came around, I had to pee so bad. Like I was just like, that's all I could do. Like we didn't have time to go do any bathrooms or not. They didn't have any bathroom breaks or anything like that between breakfast and lunch. And I was just like the longer time went on, I was just like, oh my gosh. Well, then by the time we were eating our food, I was just like, I gotta pee, I gotta pee, I gotta pee. And I just started just sweating. Like I was just like shaking. And my drill sergeant just like walking her, he's just like looking at me. And he's like, candidate, you okay? I was like, drill sergeant, I gotta pee. He's like, oh, you gotta pee? You gotta pee? You can't hold your pee? And I was like, I was just thinking, I'm holding my pee right now, drill sergeant. Like, I went through the basic thing and all the rigmarole, and went back and I talked to my drill sergeant, senior drill sergeant Arguello, and I was like, drill sergeant. He just looked at me. He's like, what? And I was like, drill sergeant, I gotta pee. And he was like, okay. And I was like, can I go pee, drill sergeant? And he was like, yeah, go pee. I'm like, like he acted like it was no big deal, but man, and then I just like took off sprinting. And it was like a quarter of a mile to the nearest Porta Johns or whatever. And I was just like going, and that was bad.
He's like Bilbo Baggins right there. Like, I'm going on an adventure.
Yeah. Well, another funny story I've got is, whenever you sit in the defect, you know, you gotta put your feet together, you know. Now they were always telling us, you know, your food tastes better with your feet together. And I was like, okay, drill sergeant. Well, I was just sitting there. I don't know what I was doing, but I was just like lollygagging. You know, I spread eagle, you know, out there eating my food, and you know, you feel the drill sergeants are like sharks, you know, that are presence, you know. And I just was like, I was sitting there eating, and I could just feel one like walking behind me, and I was like straightened up, and he's like, nope, I already saw it, candidate, get up. And I was like, crap. So I stood up, I grabbed my tray, and he's like, this is what I want you to do. I want you to walk around. I want you to walk around the defect, and I want you to yell at the top of your lungs, my food tastes better with my feet together. So I started doing that. I took one step, but I got about halfway around, and this other drill sergeant was like, he ran up to me and he's like, now I want you to bust a beat. And I was like, I started laughing, and he's like, oh, you think that's funny? And then this other drill sergeant, they're just like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. He's like, my food tastes better with my feet together. My food tastes better with my feet together. And I was just like, and everybody just starts laughing and down. I really repped that one out. I felt pretty good about that one.
But that water thing is no joke.
Mhm.
You will drink water all the time, and you better pray to God your canteens are never empty. Otherwise, you are going to be carrying around a giant water can
Yeah.
for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of punishment that comes with not being hydrated, not having your canteens full. As we learned this last weekend at drill,
Yes.
didn't have our canteens full. We are currently officer candidates at the moment, so
Mhm.
they never stop taking that seriously. Hydration is the soldier's worst enemy.
Oh yeah.
On the having to pee thing, story, though, I was jetting back whenever I was there. Being older, you kind of you had this level of swagger or arrogance, because you don't put up with a lot of the crap that the kid, some kids are too afraid to make a move.
Mhm.
I had to pee really bad one day, like Ivy, and you're sitting out on the CTA in formation, and there's only a handful of drill sergeants out there just lollygagging, in effect, like they're just waiting for whatever timed elapse to hit that we have to do the next thing,
Yeah.
and I have to pee, and I just grab a guy, and you're not supposed to go through the front door of the CTA at Bravo 439. You can't recruits are, or trainees as they called us, and I just grabbed Babbo and I said, "Hey, I gotta go pee right now," and we're going through the front door, and he was like, "We can't go through the front door. We can't do that." And he goes, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I go, just trust me. Just if you look like you know where you're going, or if you look busy and you look like you know what you're supposed to do, nobody's gonna say a thing."
Yeah.
And as we start walking in, drill sergeant walks out and passes us, and I looked at her and I said, "Right, drill sergeant?" And she looked at me and goes, "Right what?" And I go, "If you look like you know what you're supposed to be doing, nobody's gonna bother you, right, drill sergeant?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then I walked right in with that training. He goes, and like the kid was just wide eyed. That was amazing.
It's like magic.
And that's what I said. If you look like you know what you're supposed to be doing, they're not going to say anything to you.
Yeah, we had a kill zone as well up there. That's like right smack dab in the middle. Our barracks was
Bay.
yeah. Our my basic training platoon was the 213, and we were right next to the like where we were doing our mock Omaha drills and stuff. It was like you could see freedom, like there's the fence, but like it was these old barracks and it had a middle area where the drill sergeants would walk through, and then they had the side areas where all the candidates and recruits and stuff had to go through. And yeah, it was I had a lot of fun at basic training. It was intense. Now my 2020, I went January 6th, 2020. That was whenever I left home, and then I didn't graduate until March 18th, 2020, and that was the year COVID hit. And my platoon was one of the first. I think it was our graduation was the very first graduation to be affected by COVID, and my family, they flew in from Columbia, and they flew in from Oklahoma to Columbia.
Fort Jackson, baby.
Yeah, they were there, and we got word that graduation was canceled, that nobody would be allowed on base like 2 days before.
Oh my gosh.
So, but we went through the whole graduation rigmarole and everything like that, and whenever we actually did it, it was just an empty stadium, like with just our drill sergeants, and it was just so disheartening, honestly. And then afterwards, we all got held over because they locked everybody down. We all got left over in basic for an extra 4 weeks of like the drill sergeants were like, well, we know you're graduated soldiers and we need to treat you better, but you're still in a basic training environment, so just get ready for that. Like, oh, well, thank you.